today we're diving into some materials you shared with us. It looks like a lesson from a program, Spoken English in 40 Days, with David and Emily.
That's right. And it's all focused on, well, how to talk about what you do your job or maybe what you're studying.
Okay, so our mission here is to kind of unpack the strategies and, the actual phrases they're teaching in this lesson.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how these things are structured, especially for maybe for you listening if you're just starting out with English.
Yeah.
Or perhaps you're just curious about how language learning works at that foundational level.
Right.
This one really focuses in on what do you do, which, I mean, it's a question you hear all the time, right?
All the time, yeah.
And the aim seems to be giving beginners that bit of confidence to, actually answer it and start a conversation.
Okay, so let's talk about that foundational question then. What do you do? It seems so basic, but why is it such a big deal? Why start there when learning English?
Well, think about it. You meet someone new, you say hello.
Mm.
What often comes next?
Yeah, probably that. Or where are you from, maybe.
Exactly. It's a really fundamental piece of how we introduce ourselves, how we connect. It gives context. And the lesson, interestingly, even breaks it down like,
What do you do?
Oh, yeah, I saw that, slowing it right down.
Which probably helps a learner hear the distinct words, get the rhythm. And that kind of slow, deliberate repetition, it's actually a technique,
For memory.
Yeah, it touches on spaced repetition concepts. Repeating it broken down like that might actually help it sink in better long-term than just, rattling it off quickly once.
Huh. Okay, that makes sense. Getting it to stick. So after the question, they move right into answers specifically for jobs. Things like, I'm a teacher, I'm a driver, I'm an engineer, I'm a nurse. What's important about these examples for a beginner?
Well, first off, the simplicity. They're generally common jobs, right? Easy words. And the structure, I'm a, or I'm a, plus the job title. That's like one of the absolute core sentence patterns in English. You need that one.
Right. It's fundamental. And what's quite smart, I think, is they immediately push you to personalize it. And then you fill in your job. And they suggest repeating your sentence multiple times.
Yeah. Why the repetition again? Is it just rote learning?
Well, it's partly that, but it's also connecting the language directly to you. That's sometimes called the self-reference effect in memory studies. Things related to ourselves tend to be much easier to remember. So it's not just drilling, it's making it personally relevant.
Ah, I see. So it's more likely to stick because it's about you. It's clever. And it's good they didn't forget people who aren't working. They have options for students, too, right?
Absolutely. They include I'm a student, which is straightforward, but also things like I'm studying computer science or I'm learning English.
And I like that little phrase they threw in, that's perfect when you're still studying. Just a nice little encouragement.
Yeah, it validates being a student as, a perfectly normal thing to be doing. And it subtly introduces a slightly more complex structure with I'm studying plus the subject. So it builds a little bit.
Building blocks.
Exactly. And including I'm learning English is, well, very relevant for the target audience, isn't it?
Definitely speaks directly to the learner. Okay, then they show these little example conversations. David and Emily, the one, what do you do? I'm a student. I'm studying English. It feels very functional, like a script you could use straight away.
Precisely. These mini dialogues serve as models. They show the question and answer in a very simple, natural-ish exchange. Even though they're basic, it creates a kind of safe practice zone, doesn't it? Before you face messier real-world chat.
Yeah, less intimidating.
And then they do that direct address. Your turn. I'll ask and you answer. What do you do?
Putting you on the spot.
In a good way. It's an active learning technique.
Yeah.
Trying to get you to actually produce the language immediately, not just passively absorb it.
Right. Get you talking. Then the lesson adds more job vocabulary. Let's see. Shopkeeper, housewife, waiter, electrician. What do you think of that selection?
It's a decent mix, I suppose. Covers different kinds of roles, some service jobs, a trade. Housewife is an interesting one to include. It shows they're considering roles beyond, let's say, formal paid employment.
Yeah, acknowledging different life situations.
And there's that instruction, too. Say your job with a smile and clear voice.
Oh, yeah, the delivery matters, too.
Hugely. It's a great reminder that communication isn't just words. Your tone, your expression. They're part of the message, especially for a learner trying to be understood and connect.
Good point. Okay, then they tackle where you do your thing, location phrases. I work in a hospital, I work in a school, I work at a restaurant. And for students, I study at university, I study in college, I'm learning at home.
Introducing those prepositions in and at which can be tricky.
Yeah, they often trip people up. Does the lesson explain the difference?
Not explicitly in the snippet we saw, but it shows examples. Generally, in is often for larger enclosed spaces or general areas like in a school in London. At it can be for more specific points or institutions like at the restaurant, at university. Though honestly, you hear in university too.
So it's not super strict for a beginner?
I wouldn't get too hung up on it initially. The lesson provides common pairings. I work in a school, I work at a restaurant. Just getting comfortable using those is a win.
Okay.
And I'm learning at home is a really relevant one these days for many learners.
True. Then there's a slightly longer dialogue example. It includes name, origin.
Yeah, the one. Hi, what's your name? My name is Emily. Where are you from? I'm from Cairo, Egypt. Nice. What do you do? I'm a student. I study English and business. That's amazing.
Right. That really shows how what do you do fits into, a more typical first meeting kind of chat.
Exactly. It contextualizes it. It's not just this isolated question floating in space. It's part of a sequence, a natural flow.
Getting to know someone.
Mhm. And again, they prompt the listener to try personalizing that whole exchange. That active practice element seems key to their method.
Okay. And the lesson also explicitly gives some key learning tips.
Yes, things like use simple, short sentences, speak slowly, and smile.
Those sound pretty universal for language beginners.
Now, absolutely fundamental. Keep it simple, less chance of complex errors, builds confidence, speak slowly, helps pronunciation, gives thinking time, easier for others to understand.
And the smile, we mentioned that.
Yeah, helps physically with clearer sounds sometimes, but mainly it just signals friendliness, makes the interaction smoother, more pleasant. Nonverbal cues are huge.
Makes sense. Then there's this idea of recording yourself, saying phrases like, I'm a teacher, I work in a school, or I'm a student, I study at college, and listening back.
Yeah, that's a really valuable self-correction technique.
How-
Well, often how we think we sound isn't quite how we actually sound to others. Our internal perception can be a bit skewed. Recording yourself gives you that objective feedback. You can hear your pronunciation, your hesitations, maybe awkward phrasing.
Things you might not notice otherwise.
Exactly. It's a powerful tool for identifying areas to work on, building awareness, and ultimately boosting confidence when you hear improvement.
I can see that. Okay, so then they wrap up with a review of the key phrases.
Reinforcing the core takeaways. What do you do? Hi, I'm a Sarjak. I work in AFA. I'm a student. I study.
And that final task, the mirror exercise, practicing the whole introduction. My name is Fatima. I'm from Dubai. I'm a teacher. I work in a school.
Yeah, that sounds like a great consolidation activity. It pulls everything together: name, origin, occupation, location. Practicing it, maybe literally in front of a mirror, helps build fluency and confidence in delivering that basic self-introduction smoothly. It's about getting comfortable presenting yourself.
Right. So looking back at the whole lesson, the main takeaways seem to be starting simple with a really common question.
Definitely. Focus on high-frequency, useful language first.
Giving very basic sentence structures that you can easily adapt.
Yep, providing those templates.
Lots of encouragement to repeat and personalize, making it stick.
Crucial for memory and engagement, yeah.
And showing how to use it right away in simple dialogues, then building slightly.
Exactly. It's breaking down a big task, speaking English, into very manageable first steps. Giving the learner the tools and the confidence to handle that very common, what do you do, exchange. It empowers them to share something basic about themselves immediately.
It really does make you appreciate how powerful those initial simple building blocks can be for someone. Just managing to answer, what do you do, in English, even basically, must feel like a huge win when you're starting out.
Oh, absolutely. A massive confidence booster.
So thinking beyond this lesson, what other kinds of foundational questions do you think are equally critical for learners to get a handle on early? And maybe, why are those very first steps, those initial small successes, so vital in the whole language learning journey?
That's a great thing to ponder. Well, alongside what do you do, obviously, what's your name and where are you from are key intro questions. But also, maybe things like asking for basic needs or help. Where is the bathroom? Can you help me? How much is this? Simple transactional stuff.
Practical things, yeah.
And just being able to manage basic interaction markers. Yes, no, please, thank you, excuse me. They're incredibly important for politeness and navigating simple situations. Why are these first steps so vital?
I think it's because they provide immediate positive reinforcement. Language learning is a marathon, right? It takes a long time.
It really... So, getting those early wins, successfully communicating something, even something very simple, it fuels your motivation. It shows you that progress is possible. It builds the confidence you need to tackle the next slightly harder step. Without those initial feelings of accomplishment, it's much easier to get discouraged and, well, give up. They're the foundation for everything else.